You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done. It's us again. Hello and welcome to Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler. We get to the heart and soul of business and the people that make it happen.
And I'm so excited to still be here. You have no idea. I'm so happy. God, that was a
setup.
That was the setup. If you're only listening and not seeing this, I was just shaking my head no, because today's podcast is on
Congruency.
And?
It's another one of my subjects. Congruency with everything. With words, with actions, with body language.
Yeah.
If you can read body language, it's easy to see when people are incongruent.
Yeah, when I give my talks and workshops and I teach them. Now, I learned a lot of what I learned from Jeffrey. It's taken me like over a year to learn everything that you are trying to teach, and it's amazing what a difference it makes. And when I tell people like the little tips, they are gobsmacked. Holy crap, we never noticed that.
Oh yeah, it's all kinds of things. I mean, I worked on body language every single day because I'm a little OCD for 3 years. For 3 years, and I still sucked at it. I was horrible. It took me a long time to be able to get my brain around being able to understand the context of a conversation and be able to read people's body language. And since I learned to read people's body language, and I've called people on some stuff, it's hurt some relationships in terms of the relationship was going ahead under a false veil, and now there is a relationship.
Yeah, and so since we've been doing stuff for so many years together, I don't even bother to hide it. He's like, well, that was a face of contempt. Yes, it was, and I am not hiding it at all.
Exactly. Contempt's pretty good. Is an easy one to read once you learn how to read it. And that's what I lost the friendship over. It's funny, and I can tell, and I even talked to him about it. So they're in a situation with a very low self-esteem, and they were involved with very prestigious organizations, and that gave them confidence in it. And now that they're no longer associated with them, they're now left to their own self-esteem.
They're back in the fear mode.
And because of that, the insecurity, the fear mode, which is control mode, and they're looking down, well, you didn't do this or you didn't do this. I mean, just last night, there was a guy, and I'm going to give his name because he never listens to the podcast. His name is Jay, and he spent the entire evening talking about how good he was in sales. And he says, you know what's good about salespeople is they listen. He didn't take a breath for 45 minutes, and I had to listen. He said, hey, if you want some more tips on selling, you can come to me because I've done this, and oh God, talk about incongruency.
And then he proceeded to keep showing you pictures on his phone, which you had no interest in whatsoever.
Oh my
hysterical.
God! Oh my God!
And his wife wasn't any better. Anyway, it was. It's really scary. And didn't he know that this is what you specialize in?
Well, he's been told that, and he forgot. Except he didn't forget; he remembered it.
Because he's really old.
Well, the guy is all. It's all about everything superficial. It's how much money they have. It's which they don't have a lot. It's funny. Didn't they get kicked out of a club? That's
they
a
got
real
a couple
affluent club because people got.
They just didn't like them
because they're new money or something. Because they can't shut up about it. Anyway.
Yeah, every other word was how much.
And money's not bad, by the way.
No, I love money.
I wanted
to keep
money. They should be confident in what they do.
But people who are, I think people who understand money and have had it for a while, they don't need to talk about it. They know how much
because they're comfortable with it. And that's where congruency, you have to be.
Yes.
You have to be comfortable with yourself to be congruent. I mean, if you're going to make a choice and it's important to you, own up to it and be congruent. Poor Bill Clinton's getting a lot of flack from the Epstein files right now.
Well, and he did a brilliant thing. He's like, go ahead, show it. I've got nothing to hide.
This guy's got nothing to hide. There's this great, anyway, we were talking about body language. There's a great show where he's telling the nation about Monica Lewinsky, and it's used by body language experts all the time because he's looking at the camera and he's pointing over there.
Right.
It's hard for your body to be congruent when you're lying or you're telling something that's not true. So, Bill Clinton's, he's great.
He's a politician. They all, and I loved him. He was, I thought
He's
he was
a scoundrel.
Yes, absolutely.
He's a
And I
scoundrel.
thought he was a good president. And that's my opinion.
Yeah, it's very, very good. It's great.
So, all right. And body language. Let's get back to congruency. So words versus body language, leadership, congruency. I love this one. My door is always open, except when it's not. And, it's maybe open physically, and they have their doorkeeper saying, oh, I'm sorry, he's in a meeting, he's on the phone, he's just about to step out. That's not an open door policy.
Well, hypocrisy and congruency are, stepsisters or stepbrothers. And
Step siblings.
Step siblings. So do they have pronouns too? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, which is why a learning organization that is teaching subjects and doing classes on something and then doesn't follow that is not only hypocrisy, it's a lack of congruency, which builds a lack of trust, which really is the core, and it's hurting the organization.
Right.
And I gotta say, the organizations it's basically, it's amazing, and people don't understand this, how long organizations that have established themselves, how long they can survive when they're doing so badly. Like Sears is the perfect example. Sears should have gone out of business in 1984, and it still exists.
It does?
Oh God, it's not much.
Was it just like
it's
a
still
catalog
an
now?
organization? No, they've got. I think there's. Is
It's
there
like-
a Sears? No, there are a couple of Sears stores open.
I don't think
Maybe?
there are.
We could look that up.
Because the one, it's not important for this
So
conversation.
anyway, there are a lot of organizations. Let's put it this way: there are a lot of organizations in the learning and development that have a lot of incongruency, and they are on their way down. And it's unfortunate because the intention of the organizations was good. They used to be amazing organizations for organizing, and the leadership is just afraid to make a change. And unfortunately,
what is
in
it?
both cases, the leadership. And I know both of them. They're looking out for themselves. They're not looking out for the organization.
What do you always say? I love change. You go first.
Yeah, exactly.
So and it is very, very, very true. And I think it's important for employees to pay attention to the body language and the words that their leadership, even middle management, because I think they have it worst of all in terms of listening to the people above them and wanting to still have that authority over their employees. And if they are concerned with moving up in a company rather than making sure that their people are doing a good job. Great leaders have greater people around them. I think that's what makes people a really good leader. And when they're not, it's incredibly incongruous. I want all of us to succeed, except I want me to succeed. It's like Animal Farms. Some animals are more important or whatever it is than others. No, you have to be transparent and trust your people so your people trust you.
Yeah. So it's not easy to be congruent. It takes a lot of work to be congruent. So I'm going to talk very specific here.
Okay.
So I did some speaking for Vistage, which is it used to be an organization called Tech, and then it became Vistage, was owned by Michael Milken. He may have influenced the culture of it. Anyway, it's been sold like multiple times since. So at one point, Vistage was run by people. If you wanted to be a chair at Vistage, you had to be a consultant with so many years background.
Okay.
Then they decided that they were going to approach National Speakers Association to bring in them to be chairs. Now, these are speakers. So two things happened. One, the reason they brought them in is because they could sell and they knew a lot of people and they could put a group together, which is money for the organization. The problem is these people were not, the chairs are not consultants. And the whole idea was to help other businesses grow. And they couldn't help them. And yet, their financial incentives as the chair were, if they spent time consulting with you, they would get paid. So they saw this as a committed consulting group where they didn't have the expertise to do it. And then Visage would bring in outside speakers. And then in the old days, the chairs would say, you should look at this guy or this speaker or consultant as an expert. They have skills that I don't. That stopped with the NSA people because they were starting to, they were being greedy about it. And Visage just kind of went down the tubes on that. Now the pendulum's swinging the other way. And I was just contacted by a Visage chair. He says, yeah, they're beginning to change that. And they're looking back for their old model of consultants. Oh. And it was just hilarious the damage they could do. So one of the ways for organizations to be congruent is to align your compensation systems. And this gets back to a whole model called the rational actor model.
Okay.
And the rational actor model assume people will look out for their own interests in all cases.
Which is pretty much the way it is, I would
And if a bad decision is being made, then it's only a couple of things. It's one, because they're going to make decisions of their own. Either their compensation system is incongruent with the choices they're supposed to be making, or they don't have the information to make the right decisions.
Okay.
And that Vistage case of hiring, and NSA is not security agent, it's NSA is National
Speakers Association, yeah.
The speakers, being chairs, did not have the information to be an effective consultant, and the compensation system supported them keeping other people out.
Okay.
And so one of the things is, you can look it up on the internet. It's really the rational actor model. Pull it out, and it is a beautiful, very Occam's razor, very simple guide for looking and evaluating what's going on in your organization.
Okay. That's a really good tip. All right, I don't have much on this one because this was one of your choices, and you're more of the body language and the congruency expert. So that was so. Any other tips for?
Well, hang on, Rona, just real quick. We'll take a quick minute or two on this because we're keeping these short. Look, you are all about congruency in terms of play, and using play to establish a psychologically safe place.
Correct.
And being able to read when it's psychologically safe.
Yes.
And you're all about not forcing fun.
Yes.
So you do this all the time in your work, and it's a pleasure to watch because you bring groups, and you're very, very talented with that.
Thank you. I'll give you another $1.
Well, and one of the things is I've got, my personality is different. I'm real hard-nosed. If we're focused on
That's true.
If we're focused on profitability on that, we got to make some hard decisions on that. And that's not psychologically safe for people that have been, they're for posers or, charlatans or people that don't know their work. And I'm very hard on leadership in organizations. For example, this one person was complaining about their salespeople not selling. And so I gave them an exercise for them to do, to change their language. And after about 5 minutes of correcting them, every time they did it the old way, they said, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, okay, then you're not committed to changing the culture of your organization. So it can't be that important to you.
Right.
And you've got to be willing to hear the bad news.
Absolutely.
So, anyway.
So I would not hire Jeffrey to teach play. However, I would hire him to help with sales and having a better organization overall. And then I'll come in and work play for them.
Why do you think we're teamed up on this stuff?
Indeed.
And I'm not going to ever teach play.
Right.
What I've been learning from Rona is the incorporation, and I've also been working on my patience because I have flaws as a leader, just a few, not many.
1, 12, 37, hike. Okay.
So yeah, and it's I mean, you definitely are much more interactive with your programs, and you ask me how to, how do I do this, and then you make them do it. So it's like he gave a program last year or to an organization. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make everyone do it. I'm like, no, that's forced fun, and he did it anyway. So I'm like. Okay.
And I got away with it.
He did get away with it. And I was like, don't make a habit of it, because you will hit, the point. It's like when I was younger, I have two older brothers, and we all went to sleepaway camp. And, I'll go up and I talk to strangers all the time. And they used to always say, Rona, one day someone's not going to get you, and, you're going to get in trouble, or you're going to get, it has never happened.
Well, it happens. It happens every once in a while. There's always that one person that gets offended.
They may not, they may look at me a little weird, but they don't get offended or anything like that, because they can usually see, where I'm coming from.
Yeah. If you try to be everything to everyone, you're going to be
if
nothing.
You don't like me,
you're going to be nothing
okay.
to nobody.
Exactly.
Hey.
I'm not for everybody.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
You're an acquired taste.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
All right, that is it for us. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
And if you like this podcast and all of our others, or at least some of our others, hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and write a couple of comments. We always like to read comments. So.
Exactly.
Right.
Love reading comments. I love the comments, especially the ones that say I look somewhat under 200 years old, which is always good.
He is what are the big trees in the one of those big giant trees?
I'm a sequoia.
Giant redwood. There you go.
Giant redwood.
Anyway, all right. That is it for us. Did I say I'm Rona Lewis already?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We've done that.
We're leaving. See you later. See you next time.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.